Welcome back. Thanks for watching these videos. You know, I learned a long time ago that you can't really convince anyone of anything. They have to convince themselves. And arguing with people is just a very energy inefficient way of planting seeds. And simply planting the seeds and moving on, occasionally watering them, is certainly a better way to provide people with the inspiration they need to convince themselves. With that in mind, I'd like to talk about civil disobedience, and I'd like to get into what I think is wrong with the protest movement. And I've been getting a lot of videos lately, and in almost every single one of these videos, the signs I see, the words I hear, they're all angry, and I'm not saying not rightfully so, but they're angry and they're derogatory. And although I have my own feelings on the subject, and I'm sure I've done the same, I'm pretty much conditioned by the same system and ways of being that most of us are, from the time that we're little. At the same time, I don't think they're going to be as effective, and I don't think that's the way to get those seeds planted so that people can convince themselves. In protest, I think there are a few steps. I think there are about 4 steps, 4 phases to protest, to affecting change. And I think the first step involves presenting your ideology or the change that you wish to see manifest itself. And the second is action, where you act upon your ideology. You act basically to show your conviction, to demonstrate that you truly not just are saying what you believe to be correct, but you are willing to act. The third is probably the most important step, and that's where those that don't see the same things the same way as you, that don't agree with your ideology, where they begin to take notice and they begin to have doubts. And then the final step, of course, is where those same people become convinced. They convince themselves based upon their doubts, these doubts being the seeds that are planted by your actions and your words combined with your conviction. With that in mind, there are a couple things. I tend to be a little scattered in my thoughts, so I might ramble a bit. I hope you won't mind too much. My first thought is that I have rarely, if ever, seen two people that were on two different sides of an argument, two people with opposing ideologies, ever come to agreement when one or the other of them was shaking a fist or calling names or accusing. In fact, I've always seen the opposite. I wrote this once that, all you can hope to accomplish by calling someone names or screaming at them is to get them to shut their ears to what you have to say. the the second thing I've noticed is that when this does on those rare occasions happen that you appear to have some sort of agreement, it's usually because of one of two things. Either the person one of the people becomes tired of arguing or fighting, and or the the person has doubts, as I spoke of earlier in step 3, has doubts because of seeds that are planted. But understand that those seeds take longer to grow because there's this ego thing going on. Once you've stated your beliefs or your position, it's a very difficult thing to back down from that. And it's even made even more difficult if the person on the other side who's sort of casting this doubt onto your beliefs or your position is doing so angrily, in a demeaning tone, in a judgmental tone. And I've seen more often that these things don't resolve themselves. You either end up with somebody who's not convinced, who doesn't convince themselves, and who just walks off and just says they agree because they're tired, or who convinces themselves eventually based on arguments raised or arguments presented. More often than not, when they get those doubts, what they do is they go and confer with other people that think the way they do to sort of bolster their ideology. Yeah, so and so said such and such, man. What do you think? Oh, that's a bunch of malarkey. You and I both know that la 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 la, and they do a lot of back patting, and then, basically those seeds are stomped out. So I don't see all of these signs calling, warmongers and kill Bush. I mean, I'm not saying that people shouldn't have strong feelings about Brother Bush. He's boy's way out there, right? But there's also a lot of people that have already stood up and said, "Oh, I believe in Bush. Oh, I believe in Blair. I believe in, Obama. I believe in whatever. And these people, they've invested some ego in that. And so by attacking Bush, you're also attacking their ego, and you're attacking their ideologies, which, go ahead and do that if that's what you want to do. But if what you really want to do is affect change, I don't see how that helps. I just don't. And I was talking, I think I talked in the video called Creating Our Own Reality. I talked about these people that say we're going back to caveman. We would be going back to caveman days if we walked away from, all of this technology and this industrial military complex thing. And I would like to say, on behalf of the few of us who can see it, welcome to the golden age of the caveman days, because we're still in them. Caveman days haven't gone away. Understand that although the physical trappings and the technology have improved, and disease and all this stuff has been reduced, we're still acting like cavemen. We're still doing the same things. I'm not just talking about the physical brutality and war. I'm not even talking about those things. I'm talking about the way we go about conquering each other's ideologies.